election, which I think had the greatest turnout voted against. Let me say that I support the Community Justice Center. I support the concept and the model. Now let me tell you what I don't support. What I don't support is, one, bad processes. And I think that Member Holland referenced we may hesitate about prescribing a model for a neighborhood without a community process in which that model is embraced by the neighborhood. In the case of the Community Justice Center, the district supervisor, I know that no one over on that side of the table likes the district supervisor, but the district supervisor found out about the Community Justice Center when I read the newspaper. And that's not just the district supervisor, but it was also a lot of members of the district that I represent and a lot of community leaders in the Tenderloin who found out about the Community Justice Center in the newspaper. Bad process. Let's not repeat bad process with the resolve clause around the Haight-Ashbury. Now let me talk about the Red Hook Center for Restorative Justice, or whatever it is, in New York. This is supposed to be the model of the Community Justice Center. You know what the problem is between trying to implement the Red Hook model in San Francisco? And that's, the problem is, with a simple majority vote on the New York City Council, they can raise taxes. And when they put Red Hook in, they actually added services in New York City. When the Community Justice Center was dropped in the Tenderloin, and I think it was called something different, community courts, but they already existed and they didn't know about them. When it was dropped into the Tenderloin, basic services that are kind of the lifeblood of the Tenderloin, like affordable housing, mental health services, substance abuse services, everything but police and fire, should also serve the Tenderloin. But the kind of services that were supposed to be the alternatives to incarceration, which is a model that I support, they're being cut.
Yeah, cut that year.
The clubhouse, cut. They closed it. Then they had to move it, reopen it. Then they said, you're going to have to set aside this many services for the folks coming out of the Community Justice Center. Now the problem that I have with the Community Justice Center and its practical application, even though I support the model and the concept, is that what is happening in San Francisco with our budget and with new programs like this, which, let's be honest, it's got a fancy name and it's easy to talk about, and that's why it exists. The problem that I have is that if you are in the Tenderloin and you are not violating laws and you need to access services, you may be better off if you go and violate a law and end up in front of Ron or whoever at the Community Justice Center.
That's right.
That may be the best way for you to access services. So until we have a budget where we have a surplus, and we can actually program more mental health services, more substance abuse services, more AIDS, HIV programs, more housing slots, that supportive housing with wraparound services, until we can actually increase the service pool as opposed to cut them, it's a bad idea to take $1 million and to spend it on a process to get people services when you're cutting and they're full.
Okay, any additional, I see